In the rugged wilderness of Northern California, where towering firs and ancient oaks stand guard over sprawling grasslands, there lies a modest cabin made of sturdy logs and dreams. Here, Ethan, whose hair and beard show the gray earned over 55 winters, shares his days with his loyal dog, Ranger, a 7-year-old border collie with a graying muzzle of his own. As the first light of dawn creeps over the horizon, it spills golden threads across the front porch of Ethan's cabin. With gentle, weathered hands, he pushes open the creaking wooden door. Ranger, with a big stretch to shake off the soreness of yesterday's adventures, follows closely behind. They step out into a world that is also just waking up. The air is crisp and filled with the distant murmur of a waking forest. Ethan takes a deep breath, letting the scents of his wilderness home fill his lungs. He looks down at Ranger, whose tail wags in quiet appreciation of another new day. Together, they start their morning ritual, walking a well-trodden path that weaves through the mighty oaks and firs. Ranger, with a nose for all things hidden, sniffs at the earth, while Ethan appreciates the chorus of birds announcing the dawn. As they walk, Ethan's mind wanders to the cabin they left behind, a simple structure filled with memories and echoes of laughter. Willow, their other companion, remained behind. She prefers the warmth of the indoors, spending her mornings lounging in the patches of sunlight that dance across the kitchen rug. A tabby cat, with her wise green eyes, she prefers to watch the world from her kingdom of cushions and quiet. The path leads them to a small clearing where Ethan pauses. Here, the grass is of vivid green, and wildflowers nod gently in the breeze. Ranger sits beside him and looks off toward the horizon. They watch as the sun climbs higher, its rays touching each leaf and blade of grass, transforming their world into a canvas of light and shadow. Ethan thinks of the garden he will soon be planting. He imagines the vegetables and herbs that will grow under his care, the same way he's nurtured every other part of the life he's built here in the wilderness. It's a life of simplicity, but one that's full of the richness that only nature can provide. As their walk continues, it takes them deeper into the woods. Ethan's boots make a soft thud against the earth, a comforting rhythm that's been the same over the many years of walking these paths. Ranger trots ahead and then back, always making sure Ethan is close. They move together, a pair, bonded by time and love, their silence a language of its own. The sun is a bit higher in the sky when they arrive at the stream, its water clear and cold, rushing over rocks worn smooth by time. Ethan kneels to scoop a handful, the coldness a shock and a thrill. Ranger laps at the water, then looks up, droplets shining on his fur like tiny diamonds. It's moments like these, where the world seems to pause, that Ethan feels a deep connection to this place, this life. As they make their way back to the cabin, the world around them fully awake now, Ethan plans the day ahead. There will be wood to chop, repairs to make, and perhaps, if the mood strikes, a letter to write or a book to read. Ranger, ever his shadow, will be there watching, waiting, and sometimes leading the way. They arrive back at the cabin to find Willow stretching lazily in the morning sun. Ethan smiles, his heart full of the simple joy of his companions and the life they share. He knows the day will bring its share of work and contemplation, but for now, he stands in the doorway, Ranger leaning into his leg, Willow purring at his feet, and he feels at peace. Spring's awakening, well, it's more than just the season. It's a reminder of the cycles of life, of renewal and growth. It's a time to plant seeds, both literal and figurative, and to look forward with hope to what will bloom. For Ethan and Ranger, every day is a gentle reminder of the journey they're on together, a journey that continues with each sunrise in the rugged, beautiful wilderness they call home. As summer begins to unfold in the Northern California wilderness, the days stretch longer and warmer, painting the sky with the deepest blues and the land with a palette of browns and yellows. Ethan and Ranger embrace the season's fullness, their days a rhythm of sun-dappled adventures and peaceful rest. The cabin, only recently surrounded by the quiet whispers of spring, now buzzes with the lively chorus of cicadas and birdsong. Ethan spends his mornings tending to the garden he planted in spring's embrace. The vegetables and herbs thrive under his careful watch, each leaf and vine nurtured by both the power of nature and Ethan's dedication. Ranger, ever curious, noses around the plants, occasionally helping himself to a leaf of spinach or sniffing at the fragrant basil. By midday, the sun reigns supreme, its rays casting a golden glow over the land. Ethan and Ranger seek refuge under the ancient oaks, their leaves a canopy of cool shade. Here, Ethan often brings a book or his journal, immersing himself in the words of poets and philosophers, their thoughts mingling with his own as he contemplates the beauty of this life. Ranger, sprawled at his feet, watches the squirrels and birds, his eyes following their every move with a mix of curiosity and calm. In the afternoons, they venture to the nearby pond, the water a mirror reflecting the endless sky and surrounding trees. Ethan swims, his strokes slow and steady, while Ranger paddles alongside him, the two moving in harmony. They emerge refreshed and invigorated, Ranger's wet coat sparkling in the sunlight. As they make their way back toward home, they often stop to pick wild berries, the sweet tang of the fruit a perfect complement to the warmth of the day. Ethan takes a moment to appreciate the symphony of nature around them. The buzzing of the bees, the rustling of the leaves, and the distant call of a hawk all blend into a melody that sings of life's continuous cycles. He watches as Ranger bounds ahead, his movements a reflection of the joy of simply being alive. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with strokes of orange, pink, and purple, Ethan and Ranger arrive at their cabin. The air is cool, and the first stars have begun to twinkle in the twilight. Ethan sets up a small lantern on the wooden table outside. He prepares a simple meal with the produce from his garden. Ranger, resting nearby, watches the bats as they begin their nightly dance, their silhouettes a fleeting part of the twilight's tapestry. Willow, who's spent her day lounging and chasing the occasional mouse, joins them, her presence a soft, comforting weight on Ethan's lap. Together they sit, the man, the dog, and the cat, a family bound by love and the shared rhythm of their days. They watch as the lantern casts a gentle glow, a beacon of tranquility in the growing night. And as the night deepens, they retreat inside the cabin. Ethan reads by the light of the lantern, the words a simple whisper in the quiet night. Ranger curls up on his bed, his breathing a steady, reassuring rhythm. Willow claims her spot on the windowsill, her green eyes reflecting the moonlight, a silent sentinel watching the world outside. Ethan takes a moment to write in his journal, capturing the day's experiences and his thoughts. He writes about the growth in his garden, the laughter in his heart, and the constant, comforting presence of Ranger and Willow. His words express his deep gratitude for the life he's created and the love he's found in the companionship of his two faithful friends. In these long summer nights, Ethan often finds himself reflecting on the journeys he's taken, the paths he's walked, and the companions who've walked with him. He thinks of Ranger, his faithful friend, and of Willow, with her quiet grace. And he realizes that this summer, like all the seasons of his life, is but a chapter in a larger story. Summer's zenith isn't just the peak of the season, but a peak of life itself. It's a time to revel in the abundance and joy that life offers, to appreciate the warmth of the sun and the companionship of those we love. For Ethan, Ranger, and Willow, it's a season of contentment and celebration. Each day, a precious gift to be cherished. As the warm days of summer give way to the fiery palette of autumn, the Northern California wilderness becomes a canvas of reds, oranges, and golds. Ethan, with Ranger by his side and Willow watching from her perch, greets the season of change with a heart open to its lessons and its beauty. The days begin to grow shorter, and the air carries a crispness that whispers of the coming winter. Ethan spends his mornings in the garden, harvesting the last of the vegetables and herbs. Despite his humble nature, he does take pride in this bounty. Each fruit and root a reminder of the earth's cycles of growth and renewal. Ranger, ever attuned to Ethan's movements, stays close, his nose occasionally brushing against Ethan's leg in quiet companionship. Ethan prepares the garden for its winter rest, covering the beds with mulch and compost, a promise of the life to come after the cold months pass. He and Ranger then take to the woods, where the leaves crunch underfoot and the world seems to glow with an inner light. They walk through the forest, taking in the transformation, the landscape, yet another reflection of life's constant change. As they wander, Ethan remembers some of the autumns of his past, seasons that have brought him wisdom, joy, and the occasional sorrow. He watches Ranger, his faithful friend, moving with a little less vigor than in the spring, but with no less enthusiasm. He sees in him a kindred spirit, a fellow traveler on life's winding path. In the afternoons, they return to the cabin, where Ethan begins the work of preparing for winter. He checks the supplies of wood, ensuring enough to keep the hearth warm in the colder days ahead. He inspects the cabin, making small repairs, fortifying their home against the winter winds. Ranger, ever helpful, watches Ethan's every move, his presence its own silent support. Willow becomes more contemplative, her green eyes following the falling leaves outside the window. She curls up a little closer to Ethan in the evenings, seeking the warmth of his company as the night air turns chilly. Together, they are the picture of contentment and peace, a family bound not by blood, but by the deep love forged through shared seasons. As the sun sets earlier each day, Ethan finds himself turning inward, reflecting on the many journeys of his life. He thinks about the springs of his youth, the summers of his strength, and the autumns of his maturity. He thinks about the winters, too, the ones past and the ones to come, and how each season has brought its own gifts and challenges. Ethan decides to start a new tradition, taking evening strolls with Ranger and Willow under the starlit sky. They walk slowly, savoring the quiet of the night, the rustle of the leaves, and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. One evening, as they walk, Ethan spots a fallen branch from a manzanita. He picks it up, admiring its smoothness and thinking of the many fires it will kindle in the winter months. He carries it back, Ranger and Willow at his heels, and stores it in the shed next to the woodpile. It's a small branch and a small act, but it fills him with a sense of preparation and readiness for what's to come. The nights grow longer, and Ethan takes to writing more in his journal. He writes about the changing leaves, the quiet dignity of Ranger's aging, and the gentle mystery of Willow's gaze. He writes about his thoughts and his feelings, the memories that visit him in the quiet moments, and his hopes for the future. Autumn's reflection isn't just about the changing of the leaves or the preparation for winter. It's about looking back with gratitude and looking forward with hope. It's about understanding the cycles of life, the ebb and flow of time, and one's place within it all. For Ethan, Ranger, and Willow, it's a time of gathering, remembering, and cherishing the moments that make up their shared life. As the last leaves fall and the first frost touches the ground, Ethan feels a deep sense of peace. He lives fully through the seasons, letting each one add its unique color and texture to his life. And as he looks at Ranger, his loyal companion, and Willow, his quiet confidant, he knows that whatever winter may bring, they will face it together, with love and courage in their hearts. Autumn's reflection is a time of beauty, change, and contemplation. It's a season to harvest not just the fruits of the earth, but also the fruits of the soul, to gather the wisdom, love, and experiences that have grown over the year. And for Ethan, Ranger, and Willow, it's another chapter in their beautiful ongoing story.